got the little man, you got the big man, and you got the bigger man.
Gobble, gobble, mother truckers. Well, if you're Canadian, it's gobble, gobble. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Thanksgiving weekend, everybody. I'm Kellen Nitro for Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited, coming at you with another classic wrestling Nitro Steak. Yes, a classic Nitro Steak Live, I should say. If you're not familiar with how these work, it's we pick a show from the past and give it a view, a once over, and kind of give it a 2023 style review. Look at it through today's eyes and shows and events, and in this case, a tape compilation from the past. And yeah, I'm really excited about how this is going to turn out today. So I am the hardcore fan. I will bring in the lapsed fan, who is Mr. TL. How are you doing, sir? Happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
For sure. And we've talked about myself, the hardcore fan. You are the lapsed fan, and we are going to bring in the newbie, Mr. CraigPFraser.
Can I get a ho? I'm back.
That's Thanksgiving Monday when you've had all the turkey and
Exactly.
Yeah, have to pass it all. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm clearly being on the tryptophan from the turkey, slowing me down. Yeah. It was a shot of cocaine, is what that was.
Yes, exactly. For sure.
Actually, only orange juice. Only the good
Good
stuff.
Lord. Can you imagine him uncut? Never mind.
Well, Greg, we appreciate you jumping on here. I know you're a little playing less than 100% this time around, and so we will endeavor to make do with what we got, because that's what we do. So
that's him less than 100. Holy
I know,
shit.
I know. He's gotten it out.
I'm about 98%. I've kicked COVID to the curb. I've tested negative now, and it's just like residual crap.
Yeah,
like snot rockets and stuff. That'll great post-sick stuff.
Oh yeah, all the classic symptoms of blah. It's not fun. Exactly. Yep. Right on. So, and hey, I forgot, there is I guess some sort of WWE premium live event happening tonight. So if everybody's joining in as a pregame for that, welcome for sure. We might run past the actual start of the show. So if you're watching us and have plans to, check out the premium live event and that stuff, you might want to just PVR or start the premium live event at your own pace. That's it. Yes, sir.
I have an idea.
Yes.
Why don't we just run down the card and just blow through the predictions
of the premium live event quickly?
Yep,
sure,
absolutely cold.
We can do that. The little extra added predictions thing. Let me dial up the WWE Fastlane card for tonight, and we'll do that.
Nice. We're gonna do this ice cold, baby.
Ice cold. I like it. So there we go. There's the wiki. Let me get it down. All right. Whenever there's only 5 matches announced here, so this shouldn't take too long to do. So
sweet.
All right, we'll start at the bottom. It is a tag team match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. We've got Judgment Day being represented by Finn Balor and Damian Priest, Mr. Money in the Bank. Sorry, Senior Money in the Bank, versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. I don't think they're going to move the titles off of Judgment Day myself in this match. So I'll take Judgment Day to win in that one. TL, what do you think?
I kind of agree with you, but I don't see like a clear win. It's going to be some kind of interference, hodgepodge, fuck up thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, Judgment Day, sure.
And Craig, who are you taking? Judgment Day or Cody and Jay? The new best friends, I guess.
I see. I'm not really keeping up with like the current, WWE stuff. I do know who all these people are, and I do kind of understand the past. Maybe I'm probably like 4 months behind in terms of storyline. So I know that the Judgment Day just got the championships from Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, correct? Not that long ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to move them off them either. I'm just off the top of my head. I'm going to say Judgment Day retains, regardless. Maybe if there's some hodgepodge interference stuff, or if it's just clean. I think they win.
Okay, cool. There we go. So that's a unanimous Judgment Day backing there. So there we go. 6-man tag team match. We've got the Latino World Order of Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar with, to be announced, yes, a mystery partner taking on Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in a 6-man tag team match. I guess my guess will be who the mystery partner will be, and then who wins in that one. Would have to be they keep it open like that for either a returning star or maybe a legend or something like that. I'll go ahead and say Carlito, because because they did something with Carlito earlier this year at Backlash when it was in Puerto Rico or something like that. So Carlito will be my guess for the returning or the mystery partner, the third in the LWO. And it has with the LWO, I would think it would have to be like somebody with ties to either the LWO or Ray and that stuff. And Carlito has both. So there we go. And I think Lashley and the Profits will probably win that. That's just my ice cold prediction, Mr. TL.
Is Drew McIntyre on the card?
Great question. I don't believe he is. No, not on the announced matches, at least.
Okay, then my guess is it'll be Drew McIntyre, and then they'll win with the LWO, because it's not about the connections to Ray. It's about who's going against Bobby.
Ah, okay.
Because LWO is hella small. If that's their team going up against Bobby and Street Profits, they need someone with size, and it won't be Brock.
Right, and this was one of the other two Legado El Fantasma members that got hurt. That was supposed to be the third tag team partner initially in this, and then I
it has to be someone with size.
Yeah.
They need someone to stand up.
Yeah, Drew makes sense. Drew definitely makes sense for sure. So, Craig, who are you taking, and who do you think will be the mystery partner?
I was just gonna say that the mystery partner was gonna be La Parca, but I found out that he died. Probably not gonna happen.
Okay, clarification on that. The guy who played La Parca in AAA passed away. The guy who played La Parca in WCW is still alive and well.
Maybe no, it's not gonna be him. It's not gonna be him. How about that? I think that was a good point that Ty brought up. Like, somebody's got to be able to like be a physical match against Brock or Bobby Lashley. I don't know. Maybe it is like it's in Indianapolis. I thought like if it was going to be like a place like they just did that show in Puerto Rico, like then they would bring out Carlito or like Savio Vega or somebody. Yeah. But I was like, I don't know. But maybe this is completely wild card. Probably not going to happen. Chavo Guerrero. Makes
Chavo and Pepe.
Chavo comes out to help Ray, and I think that'd get a pop. That popped me if Chavo Guerrero came out. If like Ray and goes out there Santos, and then all of a sudden you hear "Viva la Raza," I'd be like, "Oh no way, fucking Chavo!"
Yo, what makes the difference is the theme song. If you hear that, I'd pop. But if you hear "Ooh, Chavo," dun, 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 I'm like, oh God, no.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with maybe not a big significant star that comes with Ray, and I think Lashley and the Street Profits take it.
Okay, cool. There we go. And just for a couple more matches here, we've got the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. So Io Sky is the current champion. This is the SmackDown WWE Women's Championship, not the one that Rhea Ripley holds, the other one. So Io Sky is the champion here. She's taking on Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Triple threat. I think Io retains. I don't think the storyline work and that stuff for this has been fairly deep since SummerSlam. So it hasn't been fairly deep, is what I'm trying to say. And so they're building Io up for something potentially, maybe a title change at Survivor Series or the Rumble. So I think that's. I think you put it. I think you keep that belt on her for a while and it's safe. So.
Yeah, I'll agree 100% because they've run this order already, this triple threat match.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with Io Sky. I know they're not going to keep that title on her long term. She's just holding it until someone better takes it. And it's just a matter of who, because we keep hearing these things like Kairi Sane has signed WWE. Like, I've heard this a whole bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen her on the product at all.
No.
So, like, did she sign? Did she not sign? Is she coming in to do this match with Io? I have no idea. So, but for tonight, she retains.
Well, remember, we still have Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble to come on the schedule. So, I don't think you'd want to bring her in for a B pay-per-view in the middle of October or the beginning of October, as it is. So,
yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, Craig, who are you taking in the triple threat?
Now, didn't WWE also sign a big star from AEW, Jade Cargill? Is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill. Yeah.
Now, has she showed up yet?
No, there's speculation that she's going to show up on Tuesday on NXT. Cody Rhodes is hinting to a big surprise. At least there's an angle where he's got a big surprise announcement on NXT on Tuesday. So a lot of people have put A and B together, right? So.
And because Becky Lynch is the NXT Women's Champion right now, right?
Yes.
So that could be that might be the match. Okay, so in that case, then let's. I don't know enough. Let's just say Io retains.
Yeah, there's not a lot to go on here. That's the thing. It's not very deep. They just got to fruit us together to have a women's match on the card, I think. So.
Wait, hold on. Wild card prediction. Because we all agree, I'll throw a wild card in there. Nobody wins. Nia Jax comes in, flattens everybody, and leaves, and they just end it.
Oh, the Nia Jax factor, yes. Yeah,
because they've done that the past few weeks, apparently on
Raw.
The whole month since she came back.
On
she
Raw.
just comes, flattens everyone, walks out, and plays her music.
Yeah.
How about they do that again? Yeah. That's my wild card prediction.
Because she's not like most girls, you know.
Oh God, I hate that theme song. Always hated that theme song.
With the shifty eyes. You know, she's got the Simpsons shifty eyes things happening.
Yep. Dog with shifty eyes.
Dog with shifty eyes. The tag team match, semi-main tonight, is John Cena and LA Knight versus the bloodline of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman. Did catch the end of SmackDown, so I was able to see what kind of formulated last night, and it appears that Cena comes back into WWE and has his WWE superpowers again, because he and LA Knight, along with Cody and was there somebody else last night? No, I think it was just the three of them, vanquished both the Judgment Day and Bloodline co-attack at the end of SmackDown. So I think that, LA Knight's stock is continuing to rise. I think that this is probably a lead up for John Cena versus LA Knight at some point into the near future, whether that's at Survivor Series or the Rumble is yet to be seen, obviously. So I will go ahead and say that the Bloodline gets the shady victory over Cena and LA Knight. I think that there might be like a partner miscommunication thing or something like that happens that causes the Cena LA Knight tandem to lose. Mr. TL.
There's two ways I could see this going down. There's either Cena and LA Knight win, and then one of them turns on the other one so they can set up a match, or the Bloodline squeaks out a victory, but they get their ass handed to them, and all of a sudden Roman Reigns makes a special appearance.
Cool.
I'll go with the first one, though. I don't think Roman Reigns will show up tonight. Yeah, let's go LA Knight and Cena.
And Craig.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think interesting. Ty kind of started something there. I think maybe Vince is gonna do it. Maybe Vince is finally gonna, the guy that the fans have been boosting. Maybe he's gonna strap a rocket to him, and maybe this match, the Bloodline wins due to a Roman Reigns appearance. He shows up, I don't know, distracts the ref, some kind of thing, and it looks like John Cena and LA Knight are gonna get through it.
Yeah,
and then like, I don't know, sneaky move, something like that. Bloodline win, and then it sets up where Cena kind of like looks at LA Knight like, hey, maybe that was on me. That was my fault. Kind of gives him the respect punch. And maybe Cena does kind of like, you know, kind of like stands in his way and then steps aside and says, you want to be the man? You want to be the champ? You know, and maybe Cena is like the bottle rocket that is going to be used to accelerate LA Knight into a feud with Reigns. Maybe.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with. That's what
Yeah,
I'm going to go with. It's a stretch, but it's
hey, no, that works. And for clarification, it's Vince has nothing to do allegedly with creative anymore. It's all Triple H now. Yes. Yeah, really? Vince is busy being chairman of TKO, which is the umbrella corp for both UFC and WWE at this point. So
I thought they were putting him on ice because he's still under investigation.
They've moved him up in that hierarchy, so he's not directly in control and influence with WWE, but he's on the board of directors and is like, you know, pres or exec vice pres of this TKO Holdings merger.
But what I mean is
with UFC and WWE.
But because he's under investigation, I thought they're keeping him aside of things for now. No?
Oh, directly involved with WWE? You mean? Yeah.
No, TKO in general doesn't want him doing anything while he's under investigation.
He is listed currently. Let me do the Wikipedia Google here. Vince McMahon is currently is the executive chairman of TKO Group Holdings. So he's the executive chairman of the umbrella corp for UFC and WWE, which I think right now is far enough away from the product that it's, you know, UFC is its own thing and WWE is its own thing. So,
okay, cool.
But anyway, there we go. and our final bit of current talk here before we get into the good stuff. The last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. We've got Seth freaking Rollins, the champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, the challenger. I like what they've been doing with Nakamura recently. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on Stream Tie, is they've basically made him a anime villain, you know, or, you know, the anime boss almost. And you know what? I could see them pulling the trigger, and this is my wild card. They pulled the trigger tonight. New world champion Shinsuke Nakamura. That's my wild card prediction for tonight.
I would love that to happen because I'm a big Shinsuke fan.
Oh, I know you are.
Never see it happen.
Yes,
I could never see them putting him over Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Okay.
Nope, it's not happening.
So Rollins retains. Craig, we're 1-1. What side? Whose side are you on?
I like Seth Rollins because he's a metalhead. I like he usually has dope metal music intros. And again, I haven't been following the storylines. I do know who Shinsuke Nakamura is. I can see him playing like this badass anime. I'm assuming Rollins is still a heel in this scenario.
Oh, he's a face.
No,
he's a face.
Nakamura's been a heel. Yeah,
Nakamura's the heel.
Yeah,
Nakamura's the heel. Okay.
Yes, that's why he's been like anime villain the past few weeks on Raw. The vignettes they've been doing with Nakamura are really, really good. Like
having him go all Japanese is way better.
Yeah, it's awesome. You got to check it out on YouTube when you get a chance. They're all posted up there. They're good stuff.
I might then say, maybe Rollins retains. I don't know. Maybe I this isn't the this isn't like the new world title is still pretty fresh. There maybe hasn't been a lot done with it. They could maybe take it off of him, and he was just like a great placeholder first champion.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe I'd say Rollins retains.
Now, the last time I brought this individuals up, we had all the flamers and hate coming our way on stream here. So, does CM Punk show up tonight in Indianapolis?
Absolutely not.
Is he signed? Did he come back?
He's there. There's rumor that both sides are talking. So,
what a pop though! What
I know,
like,
right?
Like, because I mean, because if Rollins retains and then like he's standing up, kind of like I got this, and then
Dave's been dropping
in my eyes, like he's such a man.
They've been dropping on Raw, at least Corey Graves has on commentary, lines from past Punk promos in his commentary and in build up to the Rollins Nakamura match the past few weeks.
Here's my thing. Where is Survivor Series?
November.
Chicago.
Where? In Chicago.
Both.
Okay.
Chicago, yeah.
In
the building they always run in Chicago. Yeah.
In November in Chicago. So that's probably where he's going to be. I don't see him, maybe like one of the teaser promos tonight, but he's not appearing in Indianapolis.
No, not when you got Chicago on the horizon.
You said be pay-per-view. That's why they wouldn't have Reigns. You think they're going to spoil that pop for CM Punk tonight? Nah.
Would Triple H be that petty though, and maybe put him on that?
Would CM Punk accept that?
See, there's a counterpoint there.
That's a good point. Yeah. I'm sure Punk's not gonna be the guy that's just gonna come in just to do it. Like he's gonna be like, no, it does make more sense for like to have it down to like John Cena as the last guy at Survivor Series in Chicago, and then the music hits, and then Chicago loses their fucking mind. Like so like there you go. That'd be like, that's like if there's a pay-per-view in Quebec City, and it's like, but the next month it's the Survivor Series in Montreal. Where do you think Bret Hart should come back out? Would Bret Hart want to do the Quebec? He probably would do the B show in Quebec City, but I mean, him showing up at Survivor Series in Montreal. I
wanted to come back. I wanted to come back, but not in Montreal. There's bad vibes in Montreal.
I heard Bill Goldberg was in Montreal once. Therefore, I'm not going there ever again.
I'm not setting foot in that center again. Oh, man. Yeah,
I'm not tossing out a Bret Hart impression. I can't do it. I'm not going to try.
Well, hey, maybe you want to bank it for what we got upcoming on the stream, because it's time to take a look at the product that we reviewed. Yes. You're
the reason we're here, people.
That's right. Okay, there we go. This is a general welcome. So there we go. So it was how we picked the shows and that stuff is we kind of rotate amongst the three. It was my turn to pick on the wheel here. So I decided to change things up this month and decided to let's take a look at a home video exclusive rather than a pay-per-view. From 1995, it is WWF's WrestleFest 1995. Yes. The WrestleFest name had been tossed out a few times in pay-per-view, kind of in pay-per-view discussions, actually, in the early 90s as a potential fifth major WWF pay-per-view. In fact, so much so that in 1988, there was a WrestleFest card at the Veterans Stadium in Milwaukee, I believe, the stadium that the Brewers play out of. And it was headlined by a steel cage match between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. So that was the big thing. They shot it, but they shot it as a home video exclusive for Coliseum Home Video. Every year since, from about 1988 on to, I think there is a WrestleFest 96 that exists. So from 88 to 96, 98. they released a 98, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. 98. All right. So see, it's a little bit later than I thought it was going to be. So they released that on home video about every springtime or so. So the matches that we see on WrestleFest 95 have been taped basically in the months following WrestleMania 11. So as you can see here, March, April, May, and early June are the original tape dates, I guess, from the different events that all these matches were taped for. It is a compilation. It's not so much a one show from the same night type, live to tape event. It's a compilation of matches. Runs about an hour 50 or so, and this is a bit of a rare bird because at the time of the release of WrestleFest 95, there was a disagreement going on at the time between Titan Sports and Avart Enterprises, who was the parent company of Coliseum Home Video, over the home video deal. So less copies of this were made available in North America. However, this became a Blockbuster exclusive, which means you could only rent this at a Blockbuster at the time. If you have the slipcase for this and it's all still factory packed and that stuff, this tape will fetch you upwards of $200 on eBay. Brand new.
Whoa.
Yeah. I do not. I have a beat up rental version with no slipcase, so I'll probably be lucky to get $5 or $10 for it on eBay. But and that's the copy that we watched. So we watched the home video version of WrestleFest 95. So there's some of the backstory and lore of it.
That's awesome. I didn't know all that. That's good.
Yeah. So there we go.
Don't forget, WrestleFest is the name of the arcade game that they put out in the late 80s, early 90s that people love to play.
Was just going to get to that. Yes, they did agree on using the WrestleFest name, but as a video game release back, like you said, in the late 80s, early 90s. That was in every arcade. I know there were several arcades near where I grew up that had it, and those consoles were always packed with people wanting to play it. So
I do remember like coming out of movie theaters and seeing like a WrestleFest arcade game.
Yeah,
the Magic Lantern in Spruce Grove, they had one. That's why, for whatever reason, I always thought it was called WrestleFest, not WWF. I was like, it's WrestleFest, and it's just WWF. I was like, it's WrestleFest on TV.
Yes, I also have another WrestleFest in a collection too that I own on home video, WrestleFest 90, but that one's its own different animal. We're talking 95 here, so there we go. Yeah, by the way, here is the aforementioned slipcase. I will bring this up later because I have a bone to pick with the people who are in charge of marketing this thing, who might have just been one guy at the time because of the labor shortage / spat that Avart and Titan had at the time with each other. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. So the marquee at the beginning gave me chills because, it's
the World Wrestling Federation,
the worldwide leader in sports and entertainment with the foreboding music.
Yeah,
that was a staple for years of WWF programming. Like that was like right from the new generation on until the beginning of the Attitude Era and the Scratch logo, right? So,
and that was the very opening entrance track, whatever you want to call it, from WWE Anthology when they put out their triple discs album. And this number one was called the Federation Years. That opened the entire set.
The World
that was
Wrestling
number one track.
Federation.
Yeah, and then it jumps right into Hulk Hogan and blah 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 blah
blah. Yeah, I have that set kicking around. That's a decent set. I love it. So
yeah, it's pretty great. It was pretty cool.
The opening after the marquee, it goes downhill a little bit. I'll go ahead and say the opening is very 90s with a lot of effects.
Well, hey everyone, we have a great match for you.
Oh, I was going to get to that next. Stephanie Wyand is our host.
Who's
Stephanie?
Where the hell did they find this lady?
Well, the only notable thing that she's known for in WWF lore was she was the female version of Todd Pettengill, basically. And
yeah.
The two of them gave away a house on the first In Your House back in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I've got for you.
She's done nothing else.
It seemed
apparently just tape.
When she started talking, I wondered if you'd sent me the wrong video and I was watching a bad 90s like science video that you would watch in class. I was expecting the Seinfeld bass to kick in and her be like, "Do you want to learn about atoms? These are something that are connected together with something called covalent bonds." God damn it.
Well, Bill Nye the Science Guy, it isn't. Yeah.
No, I mean, Bill was dope. This was the other side. When the TV came in and you're like, "Oh, is it Bill?" We're watching Bill Nye, and then it was one of these videos, and you're like, "Oh,
yeah,
fuck."
Yeah, exactly. I hear you. She's very Kimmy Gibbler, I find.
Kimmy Gibbler.
Fans of Full House will understand what I'm talking about.
Yes. I see now. I get you what you're talking about.
This basically obnoxious white chick. So,
but I don't think she's supposed to be. I think she's supposed to be a likable host, but she looks like she's done a ton of crack and then went out there and what the hell is with her eyes?
She's just not funny. She's like, "Oh my God, who wants to fight the Undertaker, the mysterious dead man?" I'm like, "You're not really selling this."
No,
you nailed the voice, but it's the mannerisms that fuck it up because it's like she's really like expressive, but that voice that there you go. But you mix that voice with it though, it doesn't match.
The dead man, the mysterious Undertaker is taking on a pirate. Oh my, Lafitte! Oh shit! Let's talk about that for a second. The guy's named after John Lafitte, like the actual pirate John Lafitte.
We'll get into that. That's the opening contest. As we've got John Pierre Lafitte taking on the Undertaker, and of course, for those in the know. There's Jono right there. John Pierre Lafitte.
Yeah.
Quebecer Pierre, as he was otherwise known. And he is still currently active in the pro wrestling scene. That is the monster known as PCO.
Okay.
So if you ever hear somebody refer to PCO he formerly was in Impact. Now he is a free agent. Rumored to go to AEW, but that's beside the point. That's the same guy.
The first time that this thing opens up and I see this guy, I'm like, who in the hell is this? And I had to deep Google. I'm like, this guy really existed.
Yes.
Who the fuck? And he appears so randomly and so sporadically over the next, I don't know, lifetime with the WWE. I'm just like, the fuck is happening here? Who is this guy? Mm-hmm. Why is he wearing a patch? Is the patch real? And then you flash forward to today when I had watched this, he had just left Impact Wrestling and is like, he's still around?
Yes. He had a comeback a few years ago. That was he was involved in Ring of Honor and had a little bit of a run in Ring of Honor and then ended up in Impact.
This blew my mind. I'm like, who the?
And like nuts. I said, he's being rumored to be signing a AEW All Elite Wrestling contract here in the next few months. So we'll wait and see.
What the hell for? He must be like 60 years old by now.
Well, they have guys like Dr. Lufer on their roster and Chris Jericho and now Adam Copeland. And they have a lot of older guys is what I'm trying to say now. So
they do have a few more dinosaurs than just a Luchasaurus.
Yes, exactly. So
I think you know him. Wicked tune, by the way. Anytime Metalingus comes on, I'm just like, oh fuck yeah, here we go.
I wonder what Tony had to pay for the licensing for that. Probably not as much as it was to get the Final Countdown for Danielson. But anyway, there we go.
I do think that because Edge has talked about how when he started to use that song with WWE, because he knew. So Alter Bridge does the song Metalingus, but Alter Bridge is just Creed with a different lead singer. That's all it is.
Mark Tremonti versus Scott Stapp,
I think is a better singer than Scott Stapp. And so it's Edge knew one of the guitar players. I think, what's the guitar player in Creed's name? I can't remember his name. Mark Tremaine or something like that.
Yeah.
Jeff Tremaine, I don't know. But he knew him, and he was talking to him about like, oh, I want to like, I'm changing up my music and stuff. And he said, hey, well, we just worked on this, and it was Metalingus. He said, we just worked, you want to listen to this? And he listened to it, and he's like, fuck yeah, this is it. And so he's like, yeah, you can just use it whenever you want. Like, no worries. Like they let Edge use it for free with WWE because they're like, you're going to tell everybody that this is our song, and that's free publicity for this. And that album went gold because of that. So they're like, just keep using it, man. We're good. Like we're getting royalties. We're getting money from it anyway. So that's perfect.
Also, not the first time AEW has used music that was previously used in WWE for wrestlers that they've signed, i.e. the Hardys. They're using their WWE music.
Yeah, because I think the Hardys, didn't they get the licensing from it? Because that's something that
it's just a production track that they. Yeah. It's not even WWE music. It's a television broadcast production track.
Yeah,
so
in both cases, these are examples of theme songs that were not made by the WWE and their music production. It was something on the side. So then when they switched companies, they were able to get that same music and just pay a different price on it.
How did we get to talking about current day music licensing rights in AEW from Jean-Pierre Lafitte? I can't know.
Yeah, how did we do that? How did we get to that?
We really went one way.
That train took a tangent like we've never seen before.
All right,
let's go to this first match.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and do this because we haven't done this yet in this podcast. Woo, Undertaker! Below is the Undertaker reporting modification for this. I didn't have match time, so I have the WrestleFest 95 matches, results, and original show tape dates.
Yay!
That was there. So in a certain order, not in the order that they're presented on tape, but they're there. So boom. Craig, thoughts quickly on old JPL here.
Well,
first impressions.
That eye patch is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, but the actual wrestler, the actual Carl, I think it's Carl Ouellet, Jean-Pierre
Carl Ouellet, yeah.
Carl Ouellet. He actually he's blind in his right eye.
Yes, yeah.
So that he's legitimately he's like, I can't see out of it anyway, so I might as well put an eye patch on it.
The story is the Quebecers were working a house show against somebody, I can't remember who, but he ended up getting an eye injury in that match. And that was the end of the Quebecers tag team. Jacques Rougeau went back to Montreal and started his training school and that stuff. And eventually we got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens out of that. And Pierre Carl Ouellet was on the sideline for about a year, I think, or half a year with this eye injury. So when he comes back as Pierre, or what is Jean-Pierre Lafitte, that's it. Yes. When he comes back as Jean-Pierre Lafitte, he has to wear this protective eye thing because on top of it, he had a broken orbital bone, I think, too. On there. So that entire side of that eye is it's messed at this point. He's just coming right back off.
But does it have to be that specific eye patch? Because it looks like, when someone takes a Sharpie and draws a dick on your face? Look at that.
Well, he's a pirate. That's the thing. It's when they run back. It's this.
Is he a pirate that did he fall asleep at sea and they drew a dick on his face?
This is 1995 WWF, so everybody has to have a character. Right?
That is clearly a ball sack on his right eye.
Yeah,
and then the shaft
is unnecessarily huge. Yes,
and then the shaft goes above his brow.
I think it's still funny because the fact that there's an actual French pirate in history named Jean-Pierre Lafitte. He was a French pirate that lives in the Caribbean that died. I think he died of some kind of infection at sea, but was fighting with the side of the American North during the Civil War and stuff no. The War of 1812. He was fighting on the side of the Americans, and he was like an actual buccaneer from the Caribbean, and they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna make a wrestler based off of that guy. I don't know.
Vince was by the pool one day, and he read probably the same stuff you were just talking about, and it's like, you know what we need is a pirate.
a pirate.
Yar!
I don't know.
You know, when they found that pirate and he died, they took a black chunk of coal and drew a dick on his face.
Basically. So, John Pierre Lafitte's most notable feud is not with The Undertaker, who's in this contest. However, this is John Pierre Lafitte's first televised loss as John Pierre Lafitte in this match. They kind of, when he first showed up in WWE after WrestleMania, they kind of started stacking wins, kind of like Goldberg a little bit for about a month or so, and then this was it. So, so this is the first televised loss. This match did air on, I think, like a Monday Night Raw or something. You could tell because there's Raw bannering all around the arena or so. And of course, John Pierre Lafitte's most famous feud was with one Bret the Hitman Hart later on that year in 1995 over the fact that he stole Bret the Hitman Hart's jacket.
All right.
They had a match at the Second in Your House, I believe it was, over that fact. That, yes, John Pierre Lafitte stole Bret the Hitman Hart's jacket.
I'm a pirate. I took your jacket.
I was just going to ask you, in your repertoire of impressions, do you have a mix of a pirate and a French person who steals Bret Hart's jacket?
I sometime I take a jacket, and I get on. That's Jean Chrétien. That's not even Jean Chrétien is French pirate. I take a jacket, and I stole a Hitman's jacket today. Hitman, I took your jacket. I took your chemise. Huh? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Going back up the Potomac and the St. Lawrence River, and then I'll go back to the Montreal.
Yeah. Well done. That was good.
Applause for that. Because even though it's Jean Chrétien, it is perfect for a French.
Proven. Thanks, Jean.
Yes. No kidding.
That sounds like a character from Looney Tunes.
That is the Looney Tune character of Jean Chrétien. That is what he sounds like.
Yes, there we go. So, just to close this off, a couple of observations I've made during this match was the sound obviously was sweetened, and it's the most egregious offender of it on this tape. Is if you listen to this via headphones, you can tell that the sound has been sweetened because that live crowd, they are sitting on their hands and you can visibly see it. Nobody is doing nothing in this match. And Taker's hitting everything except the tombstone, which the finish of this thing was chokeslam after Lafitte tries to reverse the tombstone and Taker gets the 1-2-3. And that's the end of the match. So, yeah, there was no tombstone.
A choke slam with probably one of the best Undertaker pins after.
Oh,
the choke slam and then like holding him down and then the fucking hair flip up with the eye roll, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's the Undertaker, man. That's Taker. That's vintage Taker.
Yeah.
There you go. And even the entrance again, like the old tune, he comes out and he got like. Again, the whole discussion about how, like, well, the urn was stolen by Kamala, and then Gorilla's just like, oh, I took that, he has it around his neck. Oh, I can't stand it. I'm just like, okay.
By Kama and the $1 Million Corporation. Kama Mustafa, the future Godfather who's
and the former Papa Shango.
Yes, and the guy, yeah.
He's had many iterations of himself in the WWF.
He's the supreme fighting machine at this point in 1995.
That's right.
Yeah.
He took the urn, he melted it down and made a big gold chain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giant gold chain.
This was back in the day where like Vince McMahon, he's just like, all right, I got a talented African-American wrestler.
Yes.
Jungle Man. Somehow. We're going to do that. It's like, no, man, no.
He's gonna be a voodoo.
Or no. Okay, no, then we won't do that. A pimp. It's like, no, Vince,
you're a pimp.
Vince, no.
And in between that, somewhere in the Nation of Domination,
yes,
a militant Muslim. What?
I was gonna say Nation Domination. I think that was dope. The Nation Domination, like that was a good.
Still, he's basically a wrestling Black Panther.
I was gonna.
Well, the Nation of Domination was basically Vince's take of the Nation of Islam. Believe it or not, that's right. That's where he got it.
That's a wrestling version of the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, the wrestlers were all good in that. You got Farouk, you got The Rock, got in there. You know, Mark Henry was in there. You got some great talent in that. D'Lo Brown. There you go.
And for some reason, Owen Hart.
Yes. Well,
he wasn't there for
good transition into our next match here. Great transition to our next match. So upcoming next on the tape after we get another. We get the a transition here. I'll talk about the play-by-play voices here right away, but we have Hakushi, Owen Hart, and Yokozuna versus Savio Vega, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Razor Ramon. So there we go. That's during the match itself. A 6-man tag. I feel that this is the best match on the tape. Because everybody gets to hit their stuff in it. Everybody looks like $1 million. And the 6-man has a feel of a dark main event feel to it. So it's obviously something they taped at the end of the television tapings. But this was for the live crowd, and you kind of get the feeling like you're watching something for the live, just for the live crowd here, which is kind of awesome. Yes, Owen and Yoko are the tag champs at this time. They won it from the Smoking Guns at WrestleMania 11, so that's why they have the tag title straps at this time. And my favorite spot of the entire tape, Yoko gets pushed back into his corner and falls on his butt, where Owen Hart just happens to be resting his foot, and Yoko lands on Owen's foot, and Owen pulls the old Super Dave, oh my God, the elephant is standing on my foot routine. I loved it. That was awesome. 5 stars.
I do remember that spot. That was a great spot. And it really is just like, it really is Owen selling it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That makes it so funny, but also like to the point where you're like, that's actually, it's still good. Like it didn't ruin the match.
No, it was subtle, but it got a great pop from the crowd too. You could hear everybody just laughing and cheering at that.
And it puts over the moment of, holy shit, this big guy hit the ground, and holy shit, if he does hit the ground, it could still cause damage.
Yeah. Well, 400 pounds on your
Cornette
foot.
going nuts at ringside during that too is very underrated. He's like, okay, you got to get off him. Come on, Yoko, get off him. Get off.
Yo, how many managers did they need?
There's Cornette. There's Sinja, who is Hakushi's manager. We'll get into Hakushi in a second.
Man, yeah.
Yeah. There was Mr. Fuji with Yokozuna.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, Fuji was out there.
Fuji was out there. So
it's like, how many managers do you need out here for the 6-man tag?
Stacking the odds.
We've got another team out there.
Stack the odds.
Yo, for me, the most memorable thing about this whole match is at the very beginning, you see Scott Hall and Bret Hart do the Wolf Pack.
The Wolf, yeah, that is sick. That's kind of cool. That's an inside reference.
Isn't that the click move?
Yeah.
In the NWO?
Yeah. And they do it there. The very first thing they do on the apron as before the match starts. Yeah. They click.
Yeah.
I didn't think Bret was in the Wolf Pack.
They did it.
I think outside of Sean, the pack or the click had respect for Bret, but because Sean
he's the top guy.
Like Bret, that's it. Yeah,
Sean was just jealous. So go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna. Sean was just kind of jealous of Bret because of what he had.
Yeah,
but I mean. Yeah, but I did think this was a really good match. Like I love this match. My only regret was we didn't get to see Bret and Owen go more.
Yes,
they did interact for a bit, but I was like, there was a moment I was like, oh, they got to go at it, right? I mean, because I think Bret eventually tagged Razor in or Savio in, I think, on the heater, but I wanted to see Bret and Owen do a little bit more. But I mean, like they have other classic matches. This didn't need to be it.
The matchup that I like to see during this 6-man was Owen and Razor. I loved Owen and Razor going back and forth. I will try to find, because I know that they've had one-on-one meetings at this time in 95 and before Razor leaves in 96. A little bit in 94 too. I'll try to find some events and that stuff maybe in the future when my turn comes again on this that have a more higher profile Owen versus Razor singles match, because that was just superb. It was great. Those guys were awesome.
Literally everybody in this match was good. I mean, even Yoko with his limitations did well.
Yeah.
That was a great match.
Yeah.
What I did notice, the crowd was all in for Razor Ramon though. Like even maybe a little bit more than Brett.
Yes. Yeah. You're correct to assume that. Yeah. They were big into Razor for sure. Big time into Razor. Now,
did you almost call him Fraser?
I almost said Fraser.
Fraser Ramon? Oh,
hey yo. Say hello to the bad guy.
I think you should do that for Halloween now.
Fraser
Ramon.
I'm wearing my night costume for Halloween, but maybe next year.
I might go as a giant thing of beer. We'll see. Just because I have that costume kicking around too. It's evergreen. You put a hockey jersey on, you're an arena beer. So there we go.
There you go.
So now Hakushi, CraigPFraser, your thoughts on WWF's version of Raiden?
If I can quote Raiden, I would say as he jumps through the air with his flying thunder fists. Hakushi, he had a different name in New Japan.
Jinsei Shinzaki.
Shinzaki, okay.
In New Japan, yes.
Yeah.
And all Japan.
He had a huge feud with is it the wrong guy? There was a big feud with him and Hayabusa before Hayabusa broke his neck.
in FMW of all promotions, the Japanese ECW. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, because they were like, I remember hearing, because when I googled him, Hakushi, I was like, I think this is the guy, because like Hayabusa, I loved Hayabusa. He was in the WCW NWO Revenge video game.
Finish him.
Yeah.
You could play Hayabusa in that game, and I always went with Hayabusa because he just looked dope. He was like this ninja. So I always played with Hayabusa. And so when I googled him, I was like, "This is a guy I think feuded with Hayabusa." So yeah, that's dope. So he's a big legendary wrestler. So he was obviously coming across doing a stint in WWF at this time. So I thought it was cool. I was like, all right. I think it's great when you see those, like for me, because it makes me learn more about a different wrestling promotion. Like that's how I learned about who the Bullet Club was, because I was like, what is the Bullet Club? And then it started in Japan and everything. And then all the different leaders and stuff. And like, Finn Balor was in it, and Kenny Omega was in it, and Adam Cole was in it. And so I was just like, oh, okay. So like that, it was really cool to see a guy like Hakushi in this match. I think there was some great, like he did that one corner spot with Brett, and there was some great back and forth with him and Brett, some good spots. So I liked it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Well, a quick talk about the finish here. Owen and Hakushi go for a double clothesline on Savio Vega, but they are not MJF and Adam Cole, baby. Savio reverses and grabs the pinfall on Hakushi for the 1-2 free count. Now, Savio Vega and Hakushi both had debuted in the WWF just after WrestleMania. In fact, 4 out of the 6 guys in this tag match, 2 out of the 6, I should say, are making their debut, or have made their debut at this point in WWF, but just weeks prior. So Savio Vega, another guy that just recently had come into WWF at this time, and Hakushi coming into WWF at this time. Savio, of course, we see his career trajectory go a little bit more past this and that stuff. And by the way, the 1995 King of the Ring winner is featured on this tape, just not in this match. I'll tell you who that is when we get to the match, and it will blow your mind if you don't know who it is. So
interesting.
When we get to that, I will tell you who it is.
Okay. I was like,
TL knows who I'm talking about here. But
by the way, I just realized something. Everyone in that match is pretty stellar for who they are and where they came from, except for Yokozuna, which is the homegrown talent, which speaks to WWF and their shitty developmental way back then, where they just wanted freaks and gimmicks. So Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, AWA awesomeness.
Yes.
Bret Hart,
Stampede.
WWF and Stampede. Owen Hart, WWF and Stampede. Hakushi, FMW, All Japan, New Japan, all of Japan shit. Savio Vega from I think it's called WWA.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, from Puerto Rico. Everybody is
down there.
Right. But everybody out there is just outstanding members of these federations that all came into WWF. Then you've got the fattest thing that you've ever seen. A Samoan playing a Japanese man.
Yes.
Who's just the absolute worst of the six of them. And it's WWF developmental. I'm like, wow.
And this was the midst of his last title run in WWF. They basically put the tag titles on him with Owen Hart so that they could basically keep them in the main events on some house shows and that stuff, because the tag champions are coming to town, but they're, with their manager and everything, and the Camp Cornette family basically starting at this point.
Well, they were hurting for heels back then, right?
They were. They
needed Yoko to do something if they can't do much with them.
Which is why Owen is a heel during this time period.
Yeah.
Because they were hurting for heels, right? So, Yes, indeed. So, back to Stephanie. She froze to the next match, tried too hard to be the cool babysitter.
Hey, everybody. Did you like that one?
And we get a match that was actually televised on WWF Superstars the week that it was taped. We have Dr. Tom Pritchard with Jim Cornette taking on Shawn Michaels. HBK. So
yeah,
that's what I got to grab from that. It was a passable match. It's a TV match to put Shawn over, is what it is.
This is like full on. This is Coke Shawn. This is Coke and Pill Shawn.
Yes.
Just before I got my life together.
Well, that's even way before that. This is I don't even think the fight with the Marines has happened yet at this point. I think this is still I think that was mid 95 ish that happens, or so, mid or fall 95. Just before, yeah. So
this was a good match. I honestly think that Pritchard is underrated for how well he kind of made Shawn look in this match, I think.
Yes.
Shawn's obviously high flying. Shawn has definite skill. I mean, obviously he's Shawn Michaels, but I think it's really sold Pritchard. The super kick, the way Pritchard just goes down and out for that, like, really made that look like a devastating move. This is a classic, Pritchard with so much more training and experience. Like, all right, kid, I'll make you look good, but you got to meet me out there, kind of a deal. So but it was a good match. I thought it was a good match.
Yes.
Yeah. Pritchard is a very capable wrestler under the tutelage of Mr. Jim Cornette, as they were
the Heavenly Bodies.
The Heavenly Bodies. That's right.
That's right.
One of the many tag teams under Jim Cornette that were very proficient wrestlers that did very well for themselves. Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Basically the 90s version of the Midnight Express.
Exactly.
Right.
Speaking of which, isn't one of those guys on commentary? And I'm like,
yes.
What the hell is this?
I was going to get into this. So with this particular match, it's Vince McMahon and Doc Hendricks, aka Michael Hayes, because they basically took for this match and the Bret Hart Jimmy Del Rey match that we see a little bit later on. Those are from the same Superstars episode, I believe. And so that was the play-by-play and color team for Superstars back in 95 was Doc Hendricks, Michael Hayes, and Vince McMahon. Now for the tape, we have Gorilla Monsoon acting as a color commentator, which is a rare feat in WWF programming because he's usually the play-by-play guy, but he's the color guy on this tape. And one Sweet Stan Lane as your announcer. Now, Stan Lane had started as a WWF announcer the year prior in 1994. Basically brought in once the agreement was made with Smoky Mountain, because he was wrestling with Dr. Tom Pritchard as the Midnight Express. in Smoky Mountain.
Yep.
They decided to bring Stan in, but they put Stan behind the mic because he could cut a promo. But I think there was something, he had like a back issue or something at the time. That stuff, and just couldn't get into the ring to be the Stan Lane from the NWA WCW that we had seen years prior.
Yeah.
So that was the whole reason for him jumping into the commentary booth. I think the most notable thing that he did as a commentator was he's the commentator and a host of the Coliseum Video Razor Ramon 2-hour special VHS release that they put out.
Never seen it.
Like, because that's a typical Coliseum Video personality profile from the time and that stuff, where it's a 2-hour compilation of matches of Razor Ramon and Razor Ramon, all the vignettes and stuff and so on and so forth.
You
so
mean
that's
they didn't have the girl?
Ooh, Shawn Michaels. He's in this match next.
No, Stephanie Wyan was not part of the Razor Ramon 2-hour compilation, but Stan Lane is. He's the host of it, and kind of details the whole story of Razor Ramon's start.
By the way, if you think I'm hamming it up, she really did that dance and said that during the intermission of this match.
Ooh, Shawn Michaels.
It's like a Carlton dance or something. I wasn't sure what she's trying to pull off there.
So she doesn't. She's not as cool as Carlton. She can't make it work. She does it, and everybody goes, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly right. Exactly right.
Why is she hosting this?
So going back to this match just for a second, because I'm always comparing the two whenever I see them do matches. It is so apparent to see like Shawn Michaels doing his little antics and assing off in the ring and stuff, compared to Bret Hart, who does everything like it's a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Where like if he throws a punch, if he nails a kick or an elbow or whatever, he means to do that shit. Mm-hmm. Like it's so, I don't know, real, if you want to call it that.
It's a great comparison you brought up, because we have a great comparison of it here on this tape. Yes. Because you watch this tape and you watch the Jimmy Del Rey, Bret the Hitman Hart match. It's exactly right. It's two differing. It's Shawn's working the high flying sports entertainment style, whereas Bret's working the, hey, this is an actual fight going on, and I actually want to kick this guy's ass. So.
Yeah, without realizing it, I think Bret Hart was more NWA than anybody else.
He was, yes.
And he just never wrestled for them.
And that's why the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart feud and matches at the Survivor Series in 96 and WrestleMania 13 are such classics and are completely slept on by today's wrestling media and by everybody, all the mainstream wrestling people, I guess, because those things they're incredible for the time. Those two matches are amazing.
They're timeless. Never mind for the time. They're both great wrestling matches. And it is because you basically have two NWA wrestlers stylistically going at it.
Because Steve Austin, same thing. Steve Austin, every match he was in is a fight.
Exactly. So you had two guys who were in a fight, as opposed to Shawn Michaels, who was just trying to ass off and just show up, you know. Yeah. What was that early spot he does with Pritchard where like I think he ducks a clothesline or does he steps on his back? I don't know. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you in a fight or not?
That was the first one of the first spots, as he kind of like does like the slew foot kind of flapjack thing, and then walks on him, and he's doing the almost like a flare strut kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it just really speaks. You're right, Ty. Like to the differences in their styles. Bret Hart is steak. He's the steak, and Shawn Michaels is the sizzle, right? And you know, Bret Hart leans into his ability. He was trained by his dad, who was a straight shoot wrestler, who was like, I'm going to put you in this hold, and I'm actually going to like rip your fucking ear as I'm giving you this headlock. You know, this like, yeah, okay, we have a predetermined ending here, but this is Stampede Wrestling. This is not kid gloves. You know, like you're going to get busted up in here, and you got to be tough, and you're going to put these holds in. You're actually going to put in that arm bar. You're going to actually crank on somebody's hip, where the thing about the sharpshooter isn't that your legs get kind of bent back. Like that's just a good leg stretch. It's when he locks it in and he like twists, and that's where you get that torsion on your hip, and that's where you're like, oh fuck, that hurts.
Yes.
Right? and so that's the heart, that's Hitman's style, whereas Shawn is much more about, you know, like, and I like Shawn Michaels' approach as well. It's not that it's better or anything, it's just it's different. That it's like, well, this is still wrestling, this is still a story. This whole thing is all about a story. You could be the most technically gifted guy like Lance Storm, but if you go out there and you're just like deadpan and you don't have any, you know, play to the crowd, and you don't have any kind of, and you don't have
the sizzle to go with the steak. Yeah,
you can't
exactly
make them either hate you or love you.
Yep.
Right, because being like the Shawn Michaels Montreal promo, obviously years after this, is one of the greatest heel promos ever, if not the best heel promo ever. Because, and he didn't need to do too much; he just needed to play off of what the audience was giving him.
Yeah, play off of the existing history that exists. Yes,
exactly. He didn't have to go out there and do. All he had to do was play Bret Hart's music and then just start laughing at them, and just everybody wants to kill him.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, yeah, perfect. How many tickets is that going to sell to see, you know, Hulkster take on Shawn Michaels after that? Like, I think that is also what gives wrestling such good, you know, it's great to see two technical competitors go at it, but if you make me want to sit down and watch it because of what goes into it, that's also what matters. But that's just my
exactly.
So, okay, and then in that sense, I think we have opposing philosophies on what wrestling is.
Sure.
And that's very interesting.
Hey,
that is very interesting, because
it's very
when
deep.
you're saying like what gets you into it is like getting the crowd involvement and showing off to the crowd and doing all that stuff. What me, for me anyways,
it's a part of it. It's a part of it. It's not all of it, but
right. But for me, saying like it's two technical wrestlers going at it, it's like if they don't have a reason to go at it, then there's no reason to watch it. That's just two guys in a ring. But like if you have a hitman who could take an ass kicking and you're like, wow, that guy's really getting his ass beat, and you believe it, and then he starts to charge back up and he starts to win the match again, there's your story.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden this underdog prevails and he wins in the match. And then you start rooting for this guy and he's doing it again and again in the series. You're like, wow, this guy he's the ultimate underdog. And he always fights from the bottom and he always finds a way to win. And wow, did he take an ass kicking to get there?
Yes.
And he dished it out just as equally. That's the story. Assing off in the ring and just kind of like stepping on somebody's back and going, whatever. I'm like, are you in a fight or are you not?
Yeah. That's pose right here.
Right. See?
Yeah. Quick aside, I did have this Shawn Michaels action figure growing up. So there we go. With the red long tights. Yes.
And also, quick aside, it just dawned on me, Ric Flair was WWF more than anybody, and Bret Hart was NWA more than anybody, and they were working for the wrong companies all their lives. It's so weird.
Wow.
That's so weird.
Well, Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. This is where all the realizations come to light, is this great channel here. So hope everybody's enjoying it.
I think we gotta leave on that one.
Well, I wish we could. We still got half the tape to go here.
Oh god damn.
Because we go right from that awesome piece of wrestling journalism that just came out of nowhere. That was awesome. To Adam Bomb versus Jerry the King Lawler. No. Yes, Adam Bomb versus Jerry the King Lawler here. From the hometown of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Glens Falls, New York, allegedly is where this tape was, or this match was taped. Classic heel King here, where he comes out and berates the crowd prior to the match, and then Adam
during the match.
And during the match too, yes. And during
boy, he took that microphone out during the match, steps outside the ring and talks to him. I'm like, holy shit! This is some classic Jerry Lawler here.
They're not tied for time at this point or anything. They're not going on live TV or whatever. They're just, the cameras are there, so that's what they're going to do. So, bunch of ugly kids called Jerry the Burger King.
Yeah,
I've written down.
The kid on a Burger King.
Basically.
I mean, great heel work by Jerry Lawler in this. Like this is the part of it, you know, where it's like Lawler's also a very gifted technical wrestler.
Yeah,
you know, but also just the ability for him to go out there and just to stoke the flames, just to rustle the coals and get the fire burning again with the fans. Like, because I mean, this match is relatively dead on the side of, like, you can see that Adam Bomb is just like almost like a WCW power plant guy. He's just a big, strong guy. You know, he's athletic, but like Lawler is carrying the match. Like Lawler is the one trying to keep people invested and wanting to like piss them off. So they're like, it doesn't matter who it is, just kill this guy. We hate Burger King. Get him out of here.
Exactly. Yes.
And then he cheats to win and everything like that. And it's just like, I think it would have been a great setup match to carry into a feud. Yeah. So I thought it was a good match, but you could tell that Lawler was trying to maybe with Pritchard, with Michaels. Like, I think that Lawler was trying to help Adam Bomb here, maybe get over a little bit, and maybe Adam Bomb is showing maybe some limitation with that.
You're right. Exactly. The wild thing here, Adam Bomb, formerly the Night Stalker in WCW, and I think he had a Black Knight gimmick in WCW at some time. I think in like 1991. When
Martin Lawrence.
No, it's the same time as Oz to reopen old wounds on Mr. TL's front.
Oh, Kevin Nash.
But about that same time, yes, was Brian Clark parading around WCW as the Black Knight. And then later on, the Night Stalker for whatever.
Good Lord, did they have awful ideas?
Yes.
But
they were naming monster trucks. They weren't naming
wrestlers.
Wrestlers.
It's a damn monster truck.
It's the name of a monster truck, yeah.
But he was in a pretty, Adam Bomb maybe could have used a little bit more time to marinate, but also in the tag division, because he was in Chronic.
Yes.
And they weren't
way later.
Way later.
Way later.
Oh, this is after. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Chronic is way later. Chronic's like 2000, 2001.
Okay. And they weren't bad. Like, but maybe they just kind of they were in the wrong, because wasn't this at the time where at that time where 2000, 2002, maybe in that window where like the tag division kind of suffered.
Yeah.
The Dudley Boys were gone. And,
yeah. And
so
they did
here,
stuff. Yeah. But anyway,
here's a classic case again of WWF putting time and effort in developing somebody who's not going to make it because they like the look of the guy.
Yes.
He's tall like Kevin Nash, but he kind of moves a little bit more like The Undertaker. He's got a good look to him, but you put him between the ropes. And as you said, even though Lawler's trying to shine this guy up, he ends up exposing his limitations.
Exactly right.
That's what was basically summarized as his career. Yeah. That's what happens to him.
Yep.
The end of Adam Bomb.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Later. Exactly. All gone for sure. Well, some kid also tried to swat Lawler and security grabbed him.
That was hilarious.
I love that.
The kid's like the kid was like going at him, and the security guard was like, "Get out of here, go sit down."
I tell you what, man. If
the crowd was more entertaining to watch than the match at sometimes in this.
Definitely.
Match,
yeah.
But if anybody, this match does serve that purpose. If you ever want to see how to be a heel in professional wrestling, 101
right here. Watch Lawler. Yeah.
Watch Lawler.
Great heel work in this. Yeah, he was. I could just tell. Like it also emphasizes how, like, you know, adults go to wrestling and there's adult fans, and to appreciate the entertainment of what it is as an adult, but like just like Star Wars, just like anything, like wrestling's for kids.
Yes.
It really is. And in its core, and it entertains, right? It entertains everyone, but like it is one of those things where, like, I remember, I think it was Yukon at the Bear when he was talking to me about wrestling once, and he's like, do you still watch wrestling? I was like, no, I stopped when I was about 12. And he's like, that's the saddest answer. I'm like, why? He's like, you grew out of it. I was like, oh no, don't Peter Pan me.
You broke his heart because you grew out of it. Yeah.
I'm not Robin Williams and Hook over here. Like I haven't forgot.
Yeah.
But like, I just I guess I stopped. But like, and it just really is. And seeing Lawler, like, the kids probably shouldn't have got up there and fucking tried to smack at him. You know, if I was the parent, I'd be like, what are you doing? But like, having those kids that upset, it's like, that's exactly what it is. Cause you're like, I want to see you lose. You know, you suck.
Yeah. There's also a crazy tall dude in the front row he's got a Burger King crown on and a Andy Kaufman sign, which I thought was pretty interesting too. I was like, man, how did you get into the building with that sign? I was like, WWF was notorious for just taking signs that had nothing to do with their product out from people, as they entered buildings back then and that stuff. They still do to some degree, but not as anal as it was back then.
I gotta just respond to Craig here.
Yeah.
Again, the conflicting philosophies of wrestling. Wrestling being for kids is a very WWF thing. It's a very WWF thing. Because before that, when it was WWF with like Bruno Sammartino and stuff like that, that wasn't so much for the kids.
It was for the adults in New York at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Harley Race wasn't for the kids. Ric Flair wasn't for the kids.
No, definitely not.
Jeez, you name it, man. The Road Warriors were not for the kids.
The Von Erichs weren't for the kids.
Well, the Von Erichs were not for the kids.
Definitely, they definitely weren't for kids.
ECW in general was not for kids.
Yeah.
ECW later on. But what I mean was
maybe then it's like WWF, like you're right, maybe it's more WWF that was more for kids, but that was the formula that brings in the most money.
Yes and no, because wrestling at its peak is not actually like as a whole for like all of wrestling for America, for North America.
Yeah.
On the whole, you had more companies with more people attending events more frequently. So that's when you had the territory system. So you had people, like Crockett, you had AWA, you had the WWF, you had Stampede Wrestling.
Yeah.
All these shows would pack out numerous events a couple of times a week or more. Memphis, probably, I mentioned Memphis area as well. And you had more people with their eyes on the product loving wrestling.
Yeah.
And they weren't geared towards kids. It was geared towards the people that could spend money, which were the adults and the men. Yeah. Something for them to watch. And it wasn't until later on when the WWF is like, okay, let's start to get the kids involved. Let's tone this thing down. Let's get the rock and roll wave going here. And it became a kid-friendly thing. It's basically like comparing old Las Vegas to new Las Vegas. The one that was run by the mob and the one that's currently existing.
Yeah. That's
so maybe it's just the wrestling
international corporations.
But I maybe say maybe it's more wrestling that's more done for like commercial purposes. Because like when you look at some of the biggest stars, like definitely Stone Cold, The Rock, they had a much more like teenager, young male audience. Like that's who they were trying to get. But like Hulk Hogan had like the commandments were just like, listen to me, brothers. All right, you got to do the 4 commandments to be like Hulk Hogan. You got to train, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and believe in yourself, brother. And
it was drink your milk.
Saturday morning cartoon and stuff like that. So maybe it is just like there, it depends on that promotion. Like, like there's no way Flair was made for kids. So that's a good point. But like, I think some of those, like the big money shows and stuff when like they got the big money star, like Cena, like Cena is not for kids. Like he obviously
they're like, definitely for the kids. That's a very WWE WWF
thing. Yeah.
But I'm talking like if you go all the way back, and these are some names that Kellen would know, but not so much you, would be like Luthez versus Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. I'm talking like black and white televisions, but that's when wrestling was wrestling.
Back on the DuPont network.
Yes, and the wrestling, the heavyweight champion would tour America, go to every single territory as the heavyweight champion. So like Luthez was like the absolute man, and people like back then it was almost like, okay, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay is the world boxing champion, and then like Luthez is right about there. You know what I mean? Like that's how high up their reputation was. As a pro wrestling champion.
That's right.
Like that's how much it meant to them. The fact that pro wrestling could still almost be like on the sports page with the sports section of a newspaper.
Oh, it was front page news if there was a big event in Chicago or definitely in New York and that stuff. It was like not front page sports. Like we're talking front page of the whole freaking paper.
Oh yeah.
What the results were.
But wouldn't it be interesting to maybe think then, because like that was also at a time where like kayfabe was still very, very sacred.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as soon as wrestling maybe kind of got exposed in the late 80s, early 90s, like especially after like the steroid thing and like, and then you know, like you had actual wrestlers being like, yeah, like this is scripted and shit. Like, you know, like who was that? The guy that went on the show that like showed him how to do the different moves and how to protect yourself.
Who is that? That was
there's a
I
former.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah, me too.
It was on 2020.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So maybe it's like the way that
it was years after John Stossel was. The name will come to be later, but I can't remember who it is. But
funny enough, the thing that exposed the business was it becoming more cartoony.
Yeah.
Because it's all of a sudden it being more cartoony and geared towards kids. It was like, okay, no, that's fake as fuck. Yeah. You've got a dead guy who like makes coffins and comes to the ring. Like you do it like the WWF doing that is what exposed it. Having these cartoonish characters and the Hulk Hogan's. Meanwhile, on the other side of America, like in the South, they've got NWA running and they've got like Dusty Rhodes taking on Ric Flair and they're bleeding all over the canvas every single night.
Got that name for you. Eddie Mansfield.
Eddie Mansfield.
Eddie Mansfield.
He's also the one that put the blade across here. He's like, hey, that's how we bleed.
Yeah, this is how we bleed. Yeah.
That's good.
He was just some lowlife Florida promoter, apparently, allegedly.
So that's it. I guess I'll walk it back a bit. Like maybe wrestling isn't always or have in every aspect has been for kids, but there's a lot of wrestling that is intended for kids, and it must be. It is more of that WWE stuff. So that's great. That was a great conversation. I like that.
Man, how this tape from 1995 has just spurred like maybe like the deepest thoughts ever.
Wrestling is always interesting. Nobody can ever say it's not interesting. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really good. Really good. All right. Well, then we go back to Stephanie Wyatt again.
God damn
it. She froze to the next match, which is a rarity for the time for WWF because we are in the mid-90s and they were basically borrowing the women's division from All Japan Pro Wrestling. It is a mixed tag where we've got Alundra Blaze, who was the WWF's women's champion at the time, and Bob Sparkplug Holly taking on Hakushi and Bull Nakano.
Yeah. Nuts.
What a contest.
I didn't mind this match, to be honest.
This is all right.
Like, I liked, hey, you know what? I mean, I think that was the last pay-per-view we watched, but the like an evening gown match or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it was great to see Alundra and Bull go at it in this one. Like, you got some good women's wrestling here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, you know, Bob Holly's a good worker and Hakushi's a good worker. I think this would be, if I saw this match at like an event, if this was like the second or third match on the card, like, you know, not the opener, definitely not the last, you know, the 4th or the 5th match, but I mean, I think this was a good match. I think it was a good mixed match.
I'll correct myself here. Bull was the WWF Women's Champion here because she beat Alundra Blaze in Tokyo back in November of '94 in that card that was 10 freaking hours long, and literally it is 10 hours long. The Big Egg Wrestling Universe in November of 1994. So.
Wasn't that the one where they showed the highlights of the match?
They did at Survivor Series, yeah.
Survivor Series,
that we looked at, yeah. Survivor Series 94. It's back on the channel, folks. Go check it out.
I could not get over how small Bob Holly looked back then. And so, like, I'm imagining just like how much roids did he need to take to become Hardcore Holly? Like, holy shit!
He's definitely a different dude here now. So, here's the thing, too. This is going to blow your mind. Is Bob Holly has All Japan Pro Wrestling ties because before he went to WWE, he wrestled in All Japan Pro Wrestling against Jinsei Shinzaki Hakushi. So that's why this match made the tape.
Oh, so they knew each other. They were,
and the women knew Bob obviously too because he was on the same cards as you know, Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze and that stuff. So yeah, there's a little bit of okay, we're gonna try this and put this out there, but let's try it with these folks and have the women kind of be the stars rather than the dudes here because as good as Bob Holly and Hakushi are in this match, the women are the stars of this thing.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool to see, like, just using this match as a comparison, how far the women have come in terms of women's wrestling. Even though these two are pretty solid, you compare it to today, it's like, wow. They can really go now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. It's cool because we see moves like, you know, Alundra Blaze doing the Ric Flair bump in the corner in an offensive move. Like, gets whipped and does the whole Ric Flair flop onto the outside and that stuff, which is pretty cool. And she does an OG Meteora during this match onto
she does
as well. And so it's like, so that's where your wifey got it.
Hey,
so,
wifey.
Yep, exactly. She's AEW bound too.
Eventually. Wifey.
I was even watching this and I was thinking, I was like, somebody like a powerful wrestler like Bull Nakano, like if she was around modern day, like would she fight somebody like Rhea Ripley or
absolutely?
That would have been
Bull Nakano, if she's around today, is taking Nia Jax's spot on Raw.
Absolutely, Nia Jax doesn't exist if Bull Nakano is in today.
That's the whole reason why they brought Nia Jax back on Raw is they need to have they wanted to do Rhea Ripley versus some powerhouse. Let's see what happens when Rhea has to go against somebody that's more powerful than her. They kind of teased it a little bit with Rodriguez a little bit.
I like her
recently and that stuff. Yeah, she's good. She's all right. I don't mind her either. But Nia was available. Nia's more of a spectacle, well, you know, appearance wise and stuff like that. I mean,
my hole.
And you had the chance to bring her back, so bring her back. You know, that's why.
Yeah, except the fact that she actually legitimately hurts wrestlers when she works with them.
That's the big difference. Bull Nakano never hurt anybody.
Yeah, like for real.
That's kind of the book on Nia, right? Like some people have said she can be dangerous.
She's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. She's kind of like the Goldberg of women's wrestling.
A couple of observations of this match. Again, watching the crowd on the outside, there was a fight on the outside with security breaking up something. You can see it on tape.
I missed that.
Yeah.
There was a fight in the audience?
All of a sudden, security just engages when they pull out wide on a shot and just takes off camera. It's like, oh my God. Okay, what is going on? And the crowd's going, ooh, you know, it's unreal.
Was this one of the matches in Des Moines? Because I was like, that's Iowa for you.
Stockton, California.
There you go, Stockton. There.
Stockton, California.
Might as well be Iowa. It's not good California. We're not talking. We're not talking about California, bro. We're talking about more like California.
The working class California.
Yeah, the red part of California.
Oh, there we go. Yes. Boom. Yeah. And the finish, a German suplex by Blaze into a 1-2-3 on Bull Nakano. So very impressive. Nicely done. I have down adequate contest, and poor Hakushi's 0-2 on this tape.
Yeah.
Come on.
Time to pack it up, Hakushi. Today is not your day.
Which all goes back to me saying Vince McMahon does not take Japanese wrestlers that seriously, which is why Nakamura's not going to win tonight.
If anybody gets the chance, I think it was released on Twitter or X or whatever they call it, like a year or two ago. But they recently unearthed Jinsei Shinzaki. He's still around. He's still alive. But his diary from that time was made public, and he's just miserable in the U.S. He is not having a good time at all. It's like you read this thing and you want to give the guy a hug at the end of the day. It's like, come on, man. It's okay. You're gonna go back to New Japan and be a star, you know, going into the 2000s and FMW. And there's a guy named Hayabusa you're gonna have some bangers with, so don't worry about it. But
Hayabusa, baby. He was the man. I watched some of Hayabusa tapes back. I didn't know that was FMW. I thought it was New Japan, but no, it was FMW. But yeah, he was like, man, he was like I think that's where Ultimo Dragon got it. That's where maybe even Rey Mysterio probably took some notes, like how he was wicked.
Yeah,
some of the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah,
but I also like because obviously the biggest, like the Hulk Hogan of Japan was Antonio Inoki.
Right.
He had the big match with Flair in North Korea, right?
Yes.
Did he ever fight Hogan? Was there ever Inoki Hogan?
I think there was in New Japan before Hogan was a big star in the US, but Hogan was still a heel in the early 80s.
I was thinking what Ty said about like not taking Japanese wrestlers seriously, and I was like, why wouldn't they have done a WWF event in Tokyo and have Inoki Hogan? Like that would have brought the roof down.
Oh God, there you go.
Who's gonna go over? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have Inoki and Hogan. The more likely scenario would be Inoki and Hogan tag teaming against somebody. Like the Road Warriors or Andre and John Studd or something like that.
I was going to say Inoki and Hogan teaming against potentially depending on what time, because Andre might have been quite hurt and banged up at that
Ted
point.
DiBiase.
I got it.
I got it.
But I'll let Craig go first.
Maybe Inoki Hogan
Let's go.
versus. Oh no, I guess it wouldn't have worked that way, but I was like I said, like maybe against like Macho Man and Warrior, but like Warrior would have ruined that.
Yes.
I mean, so maybe Inoki Hogan versus I don't know. I guess do you put in Bob Backlund with
No. I think what I would do is you got Inoki Hogan. $1 Million Man is always a safe bet during that time period over there. So I think you throw on the heel side $1 Million Man. You can make the figs, that stuff, and make the North American audience aware if you're doing this as a home video exclusive and that stuff. It's like, now I'm buying Japan, and there was the whole Japanese takeover of American stuff, and he was the $1 Million Man anyway and that stuff. So you could have Ted DiBiase there, and then if you want to have a tag partner for Ted or something like that, you can give him a guy like a Macho Man or a if we're talking like late 80s, after the
Iron Sheik,
yeah,
no Sheik tie, no.
Ted DiBiase, the Iron Sheik could be good. I've bought Iran and now I'm buying Japan.
There you go.
If you're tagging Hogan and Inoki in Tokyo,
yes,
the heel tag team is Vader and Stan Hansen. Hands down.
I thought about Vader. Okay. Vader with the fucking thing on.
With the headdress? Oh,
yeah. Or if you're afraid Stan Hansen is not a big enough name to cross back to America, Terry Funk.
Terry Funk.
Yeah, okay.
Terry Funk and Vader are two Japanese legends.
Yeah.
And they go up against Hogan and Inoki. It's like, holy shit.
And Terry would do the job.
Terry would do the job.
He'd be happy with that. He'd be like, just give me the money. I'm good to go.
Yep.
Or
he'd lose an eyeball and be like, I think it was good.
Vader and Flair versus Hogan and Inoki.
Well, Vader's eating the pin though, unfortunately, because Flair ain't getting pinned by Hogan. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Flair might get pinned by Inoki though.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
I think if you paid
Inoki would be given the pin or getting the pinfall, I would think.
I think if you gave Flair enough liquor and women, he could probably take the pin against anybody.
Well, Flair, how about this? How about Inoki goes in and he works Flair, and Inoki kind of beats back Flair, and then Vader comes in, kind of relives the whole squash thing where like Vader starts getting big offense, and then here comes Hulk. Yeah. Hulk comes back in, boom, 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 and then typical Hulk ending. Hulk gets beaten down a bit, does the fucking Hulk up, and then as Flair tries to come in and be dirty, here comes Inoki with like a big flying boot across, boom, and takes Flair out. Hogan does the big, and then there's the Irish big boot, leg drop. There it is.
Boom. Love it.
Do you think the Japanese crowd would eat that up?
I don't know. I think they would. Maybe. I think Hogan was a big enough name that they probably would have. I think they would have respected it.
I know, but it's just they're a very different crowd. Like if you ever watch old Japanese wrestling, it is such a different vibe.
Yeah, like if there's like even if there's like a botch, they're all just like because they like recognize the effort and everything. And there's like
that's if they break a hole clean, they'll clap for them for showing sportsmanship. Yeah. But it's like when Hogan points to you and nobody does it, and it's dead silent because they're waiting for the next move because they don't pop on that. They don't pop on the finger points anymore. It's just different. It's a totally different vibe.
Maybe not maybe do it in California.
Yeah. And just to cycle back one thing, and then we can move to our next match and everything. you were saying how a lot of people are probably influenced by Hayabusa, probably. But remember, everything cruiserweight and high flying falls under the umbrella, the tree, the tutelage of Tiger Mask. Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid, they revolutionized all of that.
Thunder Juice and Liger too.
Yeah,
they all
a little bit later on, yeah. But the two grandfathers of it, the Wayne Gretzky and the Gordie Howe of it, if you will, are Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sayama, yeah. He was the guy who played Tiger Mask initially. Sayato Sayama, yeah. And Dynamite Kid, who's before he was the tag partner of Davey Boy Smith, actually was
was basically the best singles wrestler you could imagine. He
basically,
just was undersized, but it was the perfect size to go against Tiger Mask.
Yeah,
he's angry English guy.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, angry, undersized English guy. Always.
I'll fuck you up, mate.
Exactly. So, back to the tape. We've got Jimmy Del Rey now versus Bret the Hitman Hart. This is from that same taping that had Dr. Tom Pritchard and Shawn Michaels obviously going at it. And Jimmy Del Rey, formerly Jimmy Backlund, a Florida wrestler that, as we saw earlier, was brought in to be Dr. Tom's new partner for what would be renamed as the Heavenly Bodies in Smoky Mountain Wrestling in '93 when Stan Lane retires from the in-ring stuff, shall we say. And so
I feel like we discussed this one already in a way.
We kind of did.
Yeah, Shawn takes on one partner and Bret takes on the other, and you compare them, and then that's what you get. So, I like this match, and it's for that reason that you get to compare them back to back on the same tape.
This is a good match. This is a great match. Bret obviously put on a clinic as he usually does. Honestly, though, but here's the thing, though. I think, and it's strategic that which person got which partner, because I think if you would have switched these, I think if you would have had Michaels versus Jimmy Del Rey, and you would have had Hart versus Pritchard, I think the Michaels match would have been substantially worse, and Hart versus Pritchard would have been classic. That would have been a classic match.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yep, for sure. I mean, Del Rey does good against Bret. I think that's the finish of this thing is a massive miss by Del Rey, puts him prone for the sharpshooter, and Bret gets the submission win. So it's Bret's ammo. And Bret hits all his greatest hits of this match. We get the elbow from Bret's rope, the second rope, and we get the Russian leg sweep and all the great matches. The backbreaker, yes, the typical Hitman default move list is there.
Love it.
Yeah, and then that's that. Stephanie Wyand shows up again. Plays a little bit of Nostradamus and calls the Hitman to the Hall of Fame and says he's going to be a Hall of Famer someday, and throws to the next match, which that was kind of obvious, but there we go. Blind squirrel finds nut. Film at 11. So, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and Rhodey take on the allied powers of Lex Luger and the British Bulldog. Who and what are the allied powers, you might ask? Well, WrestleMania 11, you're trying to figure out something new to do with Lex Luger because you've asked him to turn heel, and he ain't going to turn heel. So what are you going to do? Let's pair him with the other guy on the roster that carries a red, white, and blue flag to the ring. And their colors will be red, white, and blue, but it's going to be the UK and the US teamed as one mega team. And that's the allied powers. They had one run towards the WWF tag team titles, and that was it. Shortly thereafter this, Luger's on his way to WCW anyway. So
the only thing that could have made this team more like the depiction of colonialism walking to the ring is if they would have had a guy with like a French flag, and then one guy with like a Dutch flag, like I'm here too, but
we are the United Nations.
just like walking to the ring, you can hear, just like waving the Union Jack, and here come the Stars and Stripes, you son of a bitch. And it's just like, oh no. But I don't know. I thought this was a good match. I mean, the Allied Powers snuck it out. I mean, I'm actually, since seeing him live in the AW event and seeing some pay-per-views with him now, I got a more of appreciation for Double J.
Yeah, me too. Stick to it. This is great.
I think he's a good classic wrestler. I think he was, I mean, I don't know. He's not Mount Rushmore territory in my mind, but like, he's a guy that like, like if you're in the 80s, like the 80s, early 90s, if you're either WCW or WWF, you need him in your mid card.
You do, yes.
Like he's just the perfect guy. Like it's like okay, we're in the late 90s. You're gonna have Stone Cold, rolling the whole thing. But who do you want to have as your Intercontinental Champion? At least Jarrett's in the picture, and that's going to be a solid Intercontinental mid card.
Right.
Well, this was a good match. I enjoyed it. You can definitely see Double J and even Davey Boy kind of carrying Luger in this one a little bit. And Rody's very young, and like Road Dogg's not ever going to be considered a more, I think, better than just a tag team and a guy that was just, I come out and I spell my name in DX. But I mean,
yes, this is the beginning of the Road Dogg or Rody's run in WWF.
I think he was just younger here, and that's fine. But I think it was a good tag match. I probably could have just been Davey Boy Smith versus Jeff Jarrett, but
he's the Rody's there basically to eat the pin, because the finish is the running power slam on a Rody by Davey Boy, and that's the 1-2 free count for the Allied Powers. A few things that made me laugh during this thing. First, with the Allied Powers entrance, there were small children that were leading the Allied Powers out with flags. I was like, what is this? What is going on here?
Like Davey Boy may have just smoked crack before coming out of the curtain.
Exactly.
And Lex Luger just has no emotion on his face because
Luger doesn't care because he's just getting a paycheck at this point. That's all it is.
Because he was about to jump to WCW, right?
Yes. Yeah. This match shows you how far Luger's stock had fallen since WrestleMania 10, because don't forget, he was in one of the main events of WrestleMania 10, where he loses to Yokozuna in the WWF Championship match. In one of the WWF Championship matches.
When's the one that he won and they carried him out of the ring?
SummerSlam 1993.
So it was 93. Oh,
he won. It was a WWF Championship match, but he did not win the title. It was a disqualification win over Yokozuna.
And then they carried him out of the ring for that?
They did.
It's kind of a kick in the dick. I didn't do it. He's gonna carry out of the ring.
And now you can see why Labor Day 1995 he's standing in the middle of Mall of America with WCW, because
on the very first Nitro.
The very first Nitro, yes.
There you go.
So there we go. Yep, that's it. That's the two observations that I have out of this one was that. So boom.
All I can imagine now is them being called the Colonizers and having a tag team match with like Kamala and Papa Shango.
Oh no!
As we stream on Thanksgiving 2023, this podcast. So there we go, everybody.
Davey Boy puts him in an armbar. Give me your resources. I'm making cell phones.
About the only thing missing is Double J, Jeff Jarrett clad in a Union Jack outfit, or not a Union Jack. Sorry, the Confederate outfit.
Oh no!
Yeah, but then he would have joined the Colonizers. Anyways, you know what? I still hate Double J. I always will. As soon as I hear the first notes of his entrance, I'm just like, oh, fucking hell. I'm like, oh, fuck.
He doesn't have good entrance music. I don't like country music.
JEFF.
Well, I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. I'm supposed to hate him, but it's more of like, I want to change the channel, hate him.
He does have go away. He's got a little bit of an X-Pac heat here.
Oh, definitely.
For sure. The problem is he's the Intercontinental Champion at the time, so of course you're going to use him.
Yeah, but you give that to a heel to hold on to it before the next upcoming babyface wants to take it over.
Right.
That and the WWF does not have a lot of good heels at this time, so they need Double J.
Which would go to Shawn Michaels. Because he gets a run with the Intercontinental title too at 95. So
yeah,
that
is true.
Yeah, and it's not Razor that wins it back; it's Shawn Michaels. So, but anyway, there we go. Now time for the match that will probably just the backstory behind this and everything will blow your mind, because we've got Men on a Mission versus the Smoking Guns here. Remember my question from earlier? The 1995 King of the Ring winner is featured on this tape. Craig, who do you think the 1995 King of the Ring winner is?
Well, this was the infamous King Mabel.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Storyline,
There we
right?
go.
So had he already won it at this point?
He will be winning it in the coming months. I think when was this tape? This match was taped. Let's look at the master list here. It says 1995. Okay, well, great. So it's prior to the King of the Ring in 95.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember he won King of the Ring, Mabel, because I remember he had that purple pinky outfit on and stuff like that. He looked like a
purple and gold.
The purple and gold. You know, but yeah, I guess one of the less known King of the Rings, because I was like 95, was that Stone Cold? Was that the Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass? But
that's a year later when they've learned from this abomination.
Fuck, okay. Yeah, I guess when you said on the tape, I was like, did Billy Gunn? Because Billy Gunn did win.
He did win the King of the Ring, but much later.
Yeah, that's in the Rock made fun of him.
Yeah, that was the pro where he's like, there's just one problem. Everyone still thinks that I absolutely suck.
Yeah.
But I was like, 95, but I was like, oh, Mabel won it. He was King Mabel.
He was King Mabel.
He was just a big beast of a man.
Yes.
And Mo, who I've never seen before. Like, Mo? Who's this guy?
Mabel beat Savio Vega in the finals of that year's King of the Ring in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
That was the final?
Yes.
Yeah, and people were chanting ECW. And I, as a kid, I never knew.
There were ECW talent in the front row.
Right.
With ECW t-shirts on. Taz, the Sandman, and Shane Douglas are front row in this thing.
That's right.
Really?
And they're chanting ECW. And as a kid, I'm like, what are they chanting?
That was
only years later when they blow up, you're like, oh, it all makes sense now.
Oh. They were just sitting there checking it out, and everybody starts chanting ECW. That would have been pretty cool.
Because it was in Philly. Yeah, it was at the Philly Spectrum.
Was there you go. If you're in Philly or Brooklyn, that's like ECW. So all you have to say is Philly. I'm like, oh, so the fans were being dicks. Okay, makes sense.
They are, yes, but that is the home of ECW.
That is the home, because
this match here.
Yes, I have a couple of observations with that.
My only observation is, holy shit, Billy Gunn is still doing today what he's doing in this match here in 95. I'm like, yeah, damn, age.
We have two guys on this tape that are still active in wrestling. Well, three guys. J. Don't forget about Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the pirate.
For God's sakes.
He's still active.
Who Dickface? Pirate Dickface?
I am coming for you. I am the pirate Lafitte.
Yeah, so there we go. We have three guys that are still active in today's wrestling scene on this tape. So boom, that's it.
That's impressive.
Gorilla Monsoon goes off on Jack Tunney during this match. I mean, big time goes off on Jack Tunney during this match.
I was wondering if Gorilla had been drinking or something, because the guy turns and kind of mocks him a little bit, and he's just like, "You son of a bitch, I'm coming out there," and I'm like, Gorilla, it's okay.
It's awesome. It is so good. Mabel accidentally squashes Mo, allows Billy to roll up Mo for the 1-2-3 count, and so the Guns win. The faces win. So there we go.
The men who wrestled in jeans before Orange Cassidy tried it.
Yes, exactly.
Orange Cassidy, too cool though. He's too cool.
So cool. That you're frozen.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. All of us are frozen right now on my end.
I'm so rolling along here.
It must be me.
Okay. Well,
it's gotta be me.
There we go. Hey, whoop. Now it's gotta drop. Okay. Well, you know what? We can still hear you, so it's all good.
That's fine. I'm fine. I'll talk.
Okay, cool. There we go. We only got one more match to talk about anyway here, and this is the match that I take issue with the most on this compilation.
Yes,
it is
we know.
WWF Intercontinental Title match. Razor Ramon is the challenger taking on Double J Jeff Jarrett, who is the champion going in this thing. Now, if you look at the slipcase for this tape, it says WrestleFest 95, the video event featuring Razor Ramon versus Double J Jeff Jarrett in a steel cage Intercontinental Title contest. And
Not
you see
exactly.
what looks like it's going to be like you're expecting the blue bar steel cage, or maybe some sort of new, like an actual steel cage thing. Nope. You don't get it. The roadie is in a steel cage, a shark cage.
For some reason.
So the roadie is in the shark cage that gets suspended high above the building.
So he can't interfere.
Yes, that's your quote unquote, air quotes, steel cage match.
Well, it's a match and there is a steel cage involved.
It's a shark cage.
But you can't put that on the cover.
Yeah. But I mean,
Razor Ramon takes on Double J Jeff Jarrett, and there will be a steel cage involved.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
It's there, but you have to kind of guess what it's gonna be. Is it an actual cage match, or is there just a cage on one of the turnbuckles? You have to find out.
Turnbuckle
you have to find out and see.
Thank you, Shannon. Let's go to the ring.
Shannon Ryan.
Stephanie Wyan. Good Lord.
Stephanie Wyan. There you go.
So this match takes place in Des Moines, Iowa. Danny Davis, years removed from his heel run as a heel wrestler in WWF, is the ref, which is kind of cool about this. And basically, the match itself ends as a brawl to the outside. It's a double count out. It's a whole schmoz and that stuff. And then Razor cuts a promo. He says, "For now, keep the gold. For now, Rody, I want a piece of your hide." I thought he was going to say something else, but it's WWF in 1995, so he's going to say hide. And then Razor beats the hell out of Rody. We get a Razor's edge to Rody. Double J comes back down, and both men get locked into the cage. And as the cage is raised, it's an old school face victory where Razor won't have the belt, but he's put the heels in the cage, and now the cage is dangling above the ring, and Double J and the Roadie are up there. So, yeah.
All I can say is this: in terms of making a VHS, this should not have been the main event on there.
No. I would have been happy with the 6-man earlier.
Yes, the 6-man should have been the main event.
Yeah, and make it like the WrestleFest 6-man main event with 6 huge superstars or something like that, you know? Yeah.
But again, I think WWF was just kind of just like, yeah, but this has a cage and the guys get lifted up in it and it's funny. So that's the one. Put it on there. That's the ending.
I'm trying to remember what the hell happened again. Did the Roadie have a fish hook in his belt? And
yes, he's trying to. At one point during the match, he has like a fish hook or something that he's trying to get the keys from the cage out of the back pocket of the ref. So that's why he had the fish hook down towards where the ref was and everything like that.
I thought he was lowering this thing for some reason. I'm like,
no,
what are you doing? Are you trying to like pull Jeff Jarrett up to you or something?
No, it's Brian Armstrong, Road Dogg, trying to do Memphis bullshit. Is what it is with the fishing line and the hook, right? The only thing missing was the referee getting poked in the butt by the fishing lure or something like that. Ow, what's going on? Hey, you stop,
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, the low point to end off on this tape was that match.
It is. Stephanie has puns to wrap the tape up, and that's it. So that's it for the tape. And then there's a added feature, because don't forget, this is videotape, not DVDs. So any extra features and that stuff would be added later. What did you guys think of Acclaim's video game strategy tips at the end, hosted by Todd Pettengill? Or did you guys get that far?
I did it, and I fell asleep. Sorry.
I had an issue with the audio on the tape.
Yeah.
So by the end there, it kind of cut out a little bit.
Yeah, it does. on the capture of it or something like that, but you didn't miss much. It was just like one more code for the Genesis or something for Bruce Lee, the Dragon story or whatever.
Yeah.
When the pay-per-view goes off the air, like as soon as the match is over and the sound cut out, and then Stephanie pops back up on the stage, and I was just like, oh no. And then this guy named Todd Pettengill, who I didn't know who Todd Pettengill was. I was just like, who's this douche? I just like turned it off. I was like, I watched the matches.
Yeah, there we go.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, though, as a kid, this used to just delight me to see these like hidden because there's no internet.
No,
we didn't have the
this is where you got your inside information for playing the games that you probably would rent the next time that you went to the video store.
Exactly, and these are the only kind of like home movies and stuff at the end where you get these little nuggets of information of like how to do Scorpion's finish him in Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. Like this is the only chance you get to see that stuff. So as a kid, I would have loved to see this at that time period, but I fell asleep. I got tired.
Well, the codes for this one were for Demolition Man, yes, the video game based on the movie, and Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, which I don't think was a movie. I think it was more.
It was a movie.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Hey, yes.
There we go.
The biopic?
No, yeah. Robin Shaw played Bruce Lee
in
the movie called Dragon.
Dragon, okay.
It is, it's a very loosely, not exactly truthful rendition of his life made for movie.
Yeah. So 2 movie tie-ins at the end of the VHS here with their video games and that stuff. But
there we go.
There we go. Yeah. So Demolition Man, and there we go. It was a joy way of ending the video. So
come to think of it, I watched the shit out of both those movies as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Demolition Man because
obviously, Demolition Man still to this day is a classic. You can't not watch it. It's good. So,
Wesley Snipes is the best. Let's not lie about this.
Oh, it's Sandra Bullock. Like this is peak Sandra Bullock at this point too.
True.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And
she is
Bruce Lee because I love Bruce Lee.
Yeah, there we go. See.
I thought that was all like real, like a biopic, but then years later, I'm like, oh, all of this is kind of bullshit. Oh,
it is. Yeah, it's just Bruce Lee as the central figure. That's it.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Lord Alfred Hayes gives us a contact info, which they were still using that voiceover all the way in 1996, I think, out of him, and he had long since left the company, so that's whatever. For more information on Coliseum video releases, write to Coliseum Video.
Oh, yeah, Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yes.
Yo, this turkey is whooping my ass, man.
Okay.
We are yawning and everything.
Well, the original tape was an hour 50. We're an hour 56 into the podcast, so I think we've officially clipped the runtime of the tape. Let's give our rating out of 10 for WrestleFest 1995. And TL, I'll let you go first because yours is the first one that pops up on my page here. So go for it.
4 out of 10.
Okay. 4 out of 10. Any reasoning for that? Not really. No.
I can't recommend anybody watch this.
Okay. Craig, out of 10?
I give it a 5.5.
Okay.
Same reason. Like, I don't know if I would ever recommend someone to watch it, but I do think, there are some great matches on here. You get to see one go at it. You get to see a couple good Bret Hart matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that, like the match quality for some of those guys is good. You're going to have to deal with Mabel and the Smoking Guns, and you're going to have to deal with that last match, which doesn't make much sense, but
no, exactly.
you're going to get some good content out of that.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because it does give you a good reminder of what the WWF was facing after WrestleMania 11, which is generally considered to be one of the worst WrestleManias of all time.
Good sir, I take umbrage with your score.
Oh, okay.
You picked the event.
I did.
Did you know it was a 5 out of 10 before you picked it?
No.
No,
I hadn't watched it in years. So I remember that this thing had popped in my mind because here's the thing is that I thought that the Jean-Pierre Lafitte, Bret the Hitman Hart feud over the jacket was a match on this. So that's I had mistakenly, did that. And then it was like, oh, okay. Well, then it was Jean-Pierre Lafitte versus The Undertaker. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. That's that. And then I had also known that, yes, this had a Hakushi match on it. I didn't know that there was 2 Hakushi matches on it. And I basically had picked that because I was like, oh, cool, Hakushi. Craig will be right into this character, so we'll do that.
Well, yeah, he was dope. And then as soon as I found out he had feuded with Hayabusa, I was like, oh, here we go. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So
okay. So
yeah. So 5 out of 10. Like I said, my favorite match is the 6-man tag. I think it's a great look into what the main events of that era on house shows and that stuff look like. And yeah, so that's that. So TL, it'll be your turn next time we get together. You're picking the pay-per-view. So
all right.
Get to thinking.
I will, because you know what? Me and you have both been like completely bamboozled here by like pay-per-views we thought were good and then turned out to be 5s.
Yeah, or events in this case and that stuff. Like I said, I was trying something with this. So
yeah, and I tried to pick a good one when I picked SummerSlam, and I'm like, wow, there's only one good match on this fucking thing. Remember SummerSlam?
So we'll see what happens the next time out and that stuff. But gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to all of you.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving, yes, for sure. Craig, where can they find you on the socials?
At CraigPFraser on Twitter. I refuse to call it the letter shit.
Mm-hmm.
Generation X.
CraigPFraser, follow me or don't. I don't care.
Send him complaints you have about this channel. Because I want to see him deal with the complaints for once. I'm tired of dealing with the complaints.
Yeah, send them to me.
No. Send him to me at TMLoutan because I want to smoke.
Oh, you can tag him
I'm
too.
here for the smoke.
You can tag him as well.
You can call him Smoke from Mortal Kombat. That's how smoky he wants it.
Exactly.
You ruined it.
You
ruined it. I'm
me,
leaving now.
You can follow me all over the place at kellennitro. I'm on everything. So there we go.
You know what you can send CraigPFraser? Or Fraser Ramon, as you like to call him.
Fraser.
Oh,
Fraser, sir. You know what you can call him? Or you can send him? Send him impression requests. And he will do them on this channel next time.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
What do you think about that, Alex Jones?
God, well, you know what you tell me is damn stupid. These people coming here and they're bringing with them AIDS in airplane hangars that are distributing across the country. It's absolutely despicable. Despicable.
What is that a conspiracy, Jesse Ventura?
Well, you tell me what is a conspiracy. Do you think the government is not going to tell you exactly what you want to hear? Of course they are.
And a question to the government, Mr. Christian.
Well, sometimes the people come here and they certain question about, about how to prove the things. And I say, well, a proof is a proof. And as long as a proof is a proof, until it is proven.
We done.
I was going to say, yeah, with that.
That's it. I was going to and we out.
Yeah, we're done. That's it. All right, folks. Later days. Happy wrestling watching. We'll catch you guys next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Oh, I forgot to do the thing. Here's the thing. There's the thing.
No.
And that is the thing. All right, folks, enjoy the premium live event. I imagine it's starting right now. Yes, it is. And if you're catching this on the the tape, the on demand and that stuff, tell us how we did with the predictions. Well, we'll know anyway. But yeah, let us know how we did. All right, later, guys. See ya.